Nuclear energy has numerous benefits that the United States is not taking complete benefits of. Currently in the US, there's 104 reactors, nuclear reactors, that provide about 20% of the nation's energy. Globally, 435 power plants and 63 under construction, only one of which, is being built in the United States. Our proposition is that the United States should increase and expand the use of nuclear power by about 100 new nuclear power plants by 2030. The U.S. needs to build these power plants up and refine the technology and resources that are being put into them. The primary reason for this construction is to lower chemical emissions, lessen dependency on fossil fuels, increase safety, reduce future costs, and environmental pollution. These benefits come from the following facts: that it is economical, sustainable, reduce global warming, has readily available technology, reduces fossil dependence, and is relatively safer and cleaner than other ways of producing electricity. These points are then further broken down to significant topics: pollution, energy, cost, and safety, and solvency topics: air pollution, dependency, and global warming. Through these major points, we will convey why the U.S. needs to build up these new reactors. To begin, the inherency is due to the lack of support for nuclear power, specifically due to an attitudinal inherency where the public knows very little about power plants. All they know is such events such as Chernobyl in 1986, 3 Mile Island in 1979, and Fukushima that recently happened in Japan. What they don't know are the factors that caused it. These events happened 30 years ago, and it was due to inexperienced operators in the power plant. Fukushima was a freak accident. It was a massive disaster due to a massive earthquake followed by tsunami. Other issues that people are concerned about is radiation if you're living near the plants. However, this is greatly exaggerated. As presented by Dr. Goffman, previous chair of the Committee of Nuclear Responsibility, who said the power plant itself releases only 0.3 of a milliram a year. A milliram is a measurement of radiation. We ourselves get bombarded by about 300 millirams a year just from outside of our system by the sun and other sources. This shows how insignificant a power plant radiation release is. Going on, there's also structural inherency, where issues of funding and heavy regulation come into play. The NRC has very strict rules about construction and maintenance of the power plants. So strict, in fact, that no new plant was built in the last 30 years. Some have been shut down, and others have been suspended. Going on, major points of significance are pollution, energy, safety, and cost. Looking at the plant creation from an environmental point of view, each new plant can actually reduce the amount of emissions that coal-fired plants produce by burning coal. Nuclear plants refuel every year to 18 months. A quote from an online article, Nuclear Power versus Fossil Fuel, shows that while, quote, the new store fuel constitutes about 2 metric tons or 6 truckloads of uranium, coal power plants require a new train load of about 100 tons of coal every day. Thus, even a single power plant can reduce the mass amount of coal being burnt every single day. Furthermore, considering the amount of energy and cost of a single plant can produce, it shows its benefits. From the previous quote, it is seen that nuclear energy can produce the most amount of energy per weight per dollar of material. Even though uranium is initially high in cost, over the long period of time, the 18 months, it actually builds up on. So over the long period, cost is better. Thus, coal provides about 40% of the electric energy in the nation. So if a little bit of resources are siphoned out of the coal industry, it would be much more efficient and much more environmentally friendly that way. Lastly, the safety factor the plants provide are actually better. By diverting resources from oil and coal, environmental incidents as well as safety hazards can be avoided. The Association for Asian Research Site provided info that the official coal mine fatality statistics range from 5,600 to about 7,000 deaths annually in the last decade. That's just coal. Oil itself proves very harmful, as everybody can see in the Gulf of Mexico oil spill, or from our own coast, where we have tar-plagued beaches all the way from Seal all the way up to Santa Barbara. Finally, the solvency topics are air pollution, global warming, and fossil fuel independence. Much of the world have major issues with pollution, as we know, especially due to emissions from burning coal and cars. which release nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon dioxide, and heavy metals out into our air. This again contributes to air pollution, global warming, and even acid rain. The article Nuclear Power versus Fossil Fuels clearly points out that the U.S. coal-fired plants release approximately 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide each year. If you think about it, air doesn't really weigh all that much, but these plants are releasing 4 trillion pounds every year into our atmosphere. Furthermore, fossil fuels are actually radioactive because they contain uranium, thorium, and other minerals in them that are radioactive, which are being burnt and released into our atmosphere. From the article, Coal Combustion, Nuclear Resource or Danger, it explicitly mentions that Americans living near coal-fired power plants are exposed to higher radiation doses than those living near nuclear plants. All of these hazards, the safety issues, with the people, the environmental incidents, can all be avoided if money and resources are siphoned slowly from the coal and oil industries and given to the nuclear ones. In conclusion, numerous environmental, safety, health, and economic benefits can be gained from giving resources to the nuclear, towards the nuclear power. Specifically through new plants as well as through refinement of materials, methods, and equipment that these plants use.